Hey everybody, this is Tony up with Class Eagles. I hope you're having a great day. A question that I get a lot throughout the season from parents and coaches is how can I tell how a player is doing on the field? Or from parents specifically, how can I tell how my child is doing when I'm watching them in games? And it's a great question and a conversation I love to have. One of the first things I do though, when I'm answering that question, is talk about some of the things that parents shouldn't just dwell on. They shouldn't just be looking at how often their child, lose the ball in a game, if they scored a goal or they missed, if they got beat, those type of things that we tend to focus on and we see a lot. And not that they're not important, but when it comes to watching players on the field and really how they're doing, and most importantly, how they're doing in regards to how it's going to help them in the future, I tend to look at some other areas. One of the first things I look at and I tell parents to look at is a player's body language. What is their body language like when they're on the field? Are they on their toes? Do they look engaged in the game? Are they kind of flat-footed, walking around, head down? That body language is key. And I think with a lot of things, it's the first sign of, how somebody is doing with anything they're doing. Does that body language show confidence? Does it, look like they're really enjoying themselves? So I tell parents, look at that first. What's your child's body language like on the field? Do they look like they're having fun and engaged in the game? Second is, what are they trying to do on the ball? And not what they can do yet, but what are they trying to do? And that's an important distinction. Again, at the younger age groups, what they try to do is not always going to work and they're not going to be able to do it, but what they're trying to do is key. When the ball comes to their feet, are they trying to control it? Are they trying to dribble into space? Are they trying to find a pass to a teammate? Are they trying to create space to score, take a shot on goal? That is very important, versus a player when the ball comes to them, you really don't know what they're trying to do because they're not trying to do anything. Maybe they're just trying to kick the ball or they look very uncertain. So whether a player has success or not, what is important to me is what they're trying to do. Because if they're trying to do the right things, they're trying to do something with the ball purposeful, whether it's successful or not, that's going to help them develop a lot faster down the road. So what are they trying to do on the ball? Don't just look about how successful they are. Then I look at, what are they doing off the ball? So if a parent is watching their child on the field play, watch away from the ball, not just where the ball's at, but what's your child doing when the ball's not near them? Are they running to get into a position to get a pass? Are they kind of with the flow of the game, or do they seem disconnected? Are they running to the ball at a challenge to try to win it? Those are things that I look at if I'm looking at a player or watching a player play to determine, how they're doing. If a player is not really active off the ball, trying to find the game and more waiting for the game to find them, that's a red flag for me. They seem like they don't want to kind of be in the game, or they don't want to be around it, or are trying to not find ways to have the ball played to them. So what is a player doing off the ball is important too. The other thing I tell parents to look at is how often is the player communicating? What are they saying on the field? And not just soccer talk and trying to, things like, ball to the feet, switch it, man on, those type of things, which is important. And a player should be saying those things as well. But, are they just talking to their teammates? Are they congratulating them? Are they saying, good try, well done? Are they cheering and celebrating with their team? That communication on the field is important. If a player is just kind of, dead silent the entire game, that's another red flag. So, kind of again, looking at body language, what they're trying to do on the ball, what they're doing off the ball, and, how vocal they are in the game are, some of the things I really focus on. It's not the only things I focus on or tell parents to look at, but for me, those are my top four. Because again, they will lose the ball, they'll get beat, especially when they're just learning the game. So how a player is doing might not really be correlated directly with, how successful they are right now. I look at how they're doing is what they're trying to do, and are they doing the right things that are going to help them continue to learn and grow. So when you're out this weekend or this week, watching your kid play, these are some of the things to look at, as you're watching the game. We sometimes just only look at how the entire team's doing and how the game goes as a whole, but if you really just kind of watch your child or watch a particular player, look at some of these things and maybe use that as your measuring stick and how well they're currently doing. And if they're falling short, or you see a lot of concerns in those areas, that's definitely a time to have a conversation with a coach or a director and see how we can help the player kind of improve in some of those areas that will help them as they continue to move forward through the game.